everyone, I'm Dr. Z. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in transgender care. Welcome to my channel. I would like to talk today about whether you can ever trust your mind in knowing that you are trans before you can make any decision, or maybe when you already made decision and time comes to make even bigger decisions like surgery. How can you trust your mind that you are really trans? Now, I know that I made quite a few videos just recently about this is why you mistrust yourself. This is why you never really know for sure. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because something has occurred to me recently. Somebody commented on the channel asking me this exact question, and as I was answering it, I thought this is actually a really good answer, in a sense that it really helps you divorce yourself from this necessity to know how can you trust yourself fully, and whether you can not trust yourself fully, let me rephrase it, but how can you trust your mind, especially. And I thought it would be really important to make this video because I know that a lot of you are torturing yourselves by trying to find out how can you trust yourself. How can you trust your mind again? It's not about trusting yourself per se or your intuition or your heart, but it's about trusting your mind, trusting what this right here is telling you. So this person who has asked me this question has said that um, they really wish that there was something that they would know for sure. They wish that there was a blood test that they could take. They wish that there was something really concrete on papers that could tell them that, yes, you are transgender. Other than that, how can they, at this point, even with all the facts, even with all the history, or even without any facts or without any history, I know a lot of you don't have history of gender dysphoria dating back to childhood. How can you still know, and how can you still trust your mind that you really are transgender? And the answer that I gave this person that occurred to me is that I realized is absolutely true, is that you can't. Yes, you absolutely cannot trust your mind. In fact, what I'm going to say is this. The reason why you cannot trust your mind, because your mind is not there to be trusted. Our minds change their perspective, opinions. It changes the worldview and the map through which it understands our experience in the world a lot of times. And the changes happen daily, they happen on a small scale, and they happen on a big scale. And the changes can happen because some new information came into your awareness and you had an aha moment, or you just learned something else and you had another aha moment. Changes happen all the time. For that reason, the mind is not really there to be trusted. And in fact, you're not really there to look to your mind for trust. The mind is there to have an experience that you're having and then to analyze the patterns within that experience. When the patterns all line up, the mind draws a conclusion. That conclusion becomes something that is akin to truth. But that conclusion is not immediately reached. It is reached by lining up patterns that add up to something else. Think about your mind like a laboratory. Remember when you did a scientific test in high school, in laboratory, you never trusted your initial, or you were at least taught, I hope so, to never really trust first results, where you had to replicate results again and again and again. A lot of times when you replicated results, you probably found out that there were some outliers. Then you found out that not all results were equal. But you were looking for pattern. You were looking for an average. You were looking for some consistency that demonstrates the same thing. Some consistency that demonstrates an average yielding number, a pattern. So your mind is a laboratory. It does the same thing. Your mind is looking at what you're doing in your life, what experiences you're having, and slowly you're starting to make an assessment of lining up those patterns. And then you come up with a result. The result is what you really should be listening to, not your mind, but the end result that it cultivates in that laboratory. Let me give you an example. So let's say, for example, I always make examples about diet. I don't know, probably because I'm like changing my diet all the time and I'm thinking about it myself. Here's another example about diet. How do you know that, how does a person know that for their particular body type, perhaps just like counting macros works the best? Can they trust their mind? If somebody says, maybe it's this, maybe that, how can they trust their mind that counting the macros is the best option for them? Well, they can't, right? They can't even trust their mind on the first try. What they can do is they can set their mind up as laboratory, and they can go out there and they can test it out. And by testing it out, they go out there and they try counting macros for several months, see what happens to their body. Then they try maybe some other, maybe keto diet, see what happens to their body. Then they try low carb, high fat, low protein, high protein diets. In other words, you try things and then you see a pattern. Oh, that didn't work for me. That wasn't very good. Oh, you know how I know macros work for me? Because I've been doing it for X amount of months. Now I see the results. So you're looking for the pattern of something that works. You're not trusting your mind. You're trusting your ability to recreate experience and to see the pattern within the experience. What does this have to do with your trans identity? In your quest to really have acceptance or have solidity or have trust in yourself that you are trans, you're also looking for experiences that line up in a pattern. Those experiences are going to give you data. That's the data you're going to analyze. For a lot of you, it can be as easy as looking back at your childhood when you first had an experience of incongruency and how that experience manifested across your lifespan and across your domains. Age 4, at home, at school, on a playground. Age 10, at home, at school, at a playground. Age 18, at home, at school, at my first employment. Age 25, at home, in a relationship, at work. You're seeing how things are continuously present. For you, the continuation of presence is going to be your gender dysphoria, your incongruencies that you feel. That's data. That experience is lining up patterns, and the pattern is yielding results. In telling you that you continuously, as you continue to live your life, you are uncomfortable with your gender assigned at birth. For a lot of you who are disregarding that and looking for data right now, your data is not going to be that one day you woke up and you're thinking, I'm trans. That's not enough data. And your data is not going to be that somebody else is telling you something. Your data is going to be you. As you start taking steps, I'm a big fan of small steps. You start taking small steps toward working on your gender issues, integrating social transition, starting to step into you more and more. Those steps are going to be your data that your mind is going to analyze. If you're doing those things, and as you're doing those things, you start feeling better, your confidence goes up, your anxiety goes down, your depression goes down, you overall feel really good about yourself, well, then we have enough replicated results that tell us something is working. If you start taking hormones and you continue to feel better and better and better, that's another set of data points that also indicate average consistency of a pattern. So the results, that's what we're looking for. You cannot trust your mind. Your mind is not there to be trusted. What you're trusting is your experience over time that happens again and again and again to the point where you can now replicate it, and then you can generalize that experience to your whole being, just like a science laboratory. People who say that gender dysphoria is unscientific, shit, it's very scientific, actually. If you look at people's history of gender dysphoria starting from childhood and how it progresses and how it stays no matter what people do. I mean, what else do you need a science? So, of course, people can easily publish that as a research study, but at the same time, having your own self-observation is data enough. It's very scientific, very much so. It is an experience replicated again and again and again and again, and it yields the same results. What more of a science do you need? So this is how you may want to start thinking about it. This is not so much something that you trust or mistrust. This is just a laboratory. The function of a mind is to take your life experiences and make sense of them. That's it. It's not about trust or mistrust. It's just about, let me make sense of it. If I hate wasabi, if I eat wasabi every time and I just want to puke, that's enough data set points that I hate wasabi. In fact, if wasabi even touches my sushi, I cannot tolerate it. This is how much you cannot stand wasabi. Okay, data points. I'm not trusting my mind that I hate wasabi. I'm trusting that it's been X amount of experience, and every time I still hate it. Same thing with every single life. You're not trusting your mind, you're trusting your experience that is happening again and again and again and again. And that's your best friend. That's what you got to go off. A lot of us get stuck on thinking, how can we get the trust? How can I know for 100%? Remember how in one video I said there's never going to be 100%. Some of you may feel like you have 100%, but a lot of you, you won't. You won't have 100% because the rest of the world is telling you to mistrust yourself. On top of that, the rest of the world now, in this case, in terms of your experiences, negates your experiences. So the best thing you can do is approach everything from this data collection point, analyze everything, and you'll see that if things continue to replicate themselves, that's probably true. It's how it's true for everything else that we know. So you need to trust your experiences. So hopefully this is helpful. I know that a lot of people get really stuck in this, how can I trust my mind? And you can't. It's not there to be trusted. It's there to come up with understanding based on the experiences you have. So you need to trust experiences. Comment below, let me know how you're doing. What are you struggling with? Let me know if you're struggling with this, you mind needing to know. What kind of results have you already replicated? What kind of things did they yield for you? What are you getting created to replicate as a science experiment in your life in regards to gender dysphoria to see what kind of data points it's going to give you? You need to trust those things. So things make you feel particular way for a reason. And that reason is something for you to pay attention to. So comment below, let me know, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.